So our top 5 for this episode was our top 5 Kurt Russell characters that he's portrayed. I thought it's a little bit different. Yeah.
Yep.
And for me, it was fairly easy. I wish I could have made a top 10 because he's done quite a lot of like good characters in my eyes. But I managed to narrow it down to my 5 favourite characters. And I'm good to go. Are you?
Yep.
Who shall go first, Brian?
Go on, I'll go first this time. So I get the feeling our number 1 is going to be the same, but we'll see. I will say that most of these, it's been a while since I've seen them, so I was going for a lot of them. I was going purely off memory. So anyway, my number 5 is McCabe from Vanilla Sky, a film that I feel gets much maligned. Doesn't quite get the credit it deserves. But one of the most memorable things about it, and one of the things that stood out even way back when I watched it, was Kurt Russell. And he hadn't done anything really substantial for about 4 years between Breakdown and this. He'd done Soldier, which, no one really cared about. It's definitely not one of his finest moments. No. So literally he did Breakdown, then about a year later he did Soldier, and then there was like a 2-3 year gap between that and Vanilla Sky. So he's almost, that doesn't sound like a lot, 4 years, but actually in acting terms that's quite a long stretch to be out of the acting game. So he came back in this supporting role, really. He'd gone from being a leading man, and then he comes back a few years later and he's taken on supporting roles. And seeing him in this film, in Vanilla Sky, it instantly made you want to see him again in a leading role. And he brought to that role a lot of what he brings to Breakdown, which is just this almost everyman appeal, but someone who's maybe a bit smarter, a bit more assured of himself, a bit more sure of himself. And yeah, so he's this kind of psychiatrist who's trying to get Tom Cruise's character to come to terms with whatever is going on. With I don't want to spoil things for anyone who's not seen the film. But when he learns a particular piece of information towards the end of the film, his reaction to learning that is it's priceless. And you feel sorry for the guy, you identify with him, and like I say, it's a supporting role, but Kurt Russell does so much with it because of his skills as an actor. Skills which I think actually go fairly unnoticed within Hollywood. I think because he's been in a lot of comedies, a lot of action films, he gets kind of thrown into the same boot campers like Stallone and Schwarzenegger and some of those kind of people, when in actual fact his skills as an actor are on a completely different level. He's someone you can take very seriously as an actor when he puts his A game on. So yeah, Vanilla Sky, McCabe.
Okay, my number 5 is Stuntman Mike from Death Proof, or Grindhouse, whatever you want. I kind of love this one because it's got Kurt Russell in a very playful mood, because as the movie starts, you don't really know too much about this character. He's fun. He seems to be kind of just this guy that lives on the edge, hangs out with, instigates himself into any situation and can befriend anybody, until he gets them into his car, in which case he turns out to be a raving lunatic that loves to just decimate the bodies next to him because they're not as secure as he is. It's a really fun role that I hadn't seen Kurt Russell do in so many years, and he instantly just fitted right back into that, and instantly fitted right into the world of Tarantino. There's some people that just are able to live in that world and do exceptionally well, and he is one of those people. And although Death Proof is regarded as one of Tarantino's lesser movies, I still think it's pretty fun, and I think it's primarily down to this charismatic psychopath that is the main kind of villain.
Yep. And sticking with Tarantino, my number 4 choice is Joan Ruth from The Hateful Eight. Again, it's been a while. It's been about 2 years, I think, since I saw this film, so memory's pretty hazy, but I just remember liking him. Again, a lot of that is down to the script that he's got from Tarantino. You know, most actors, when put in a Tarantino film, they're going to do some of their best work just because of the way he directs them and the dialogue that he puts into their mouths. But Russell just has a lot of fun with this character. That's all I could say, really. He's a tough guy, but he's also quite amusing at times, and he's just a pretty cool dude. So,
good choice. In fact, my number 4 is Joan Ruth from The Hateful Eight. I love this character because he was front and centre of all the advertising campaigns. When the movie starts, he's our hero, taking Miss Domergue to justice. But he's an idiot. He really is. You know, he's not as smart as he thinks he is. He's not as capable as he thinks he is. But he has this swagger and way of saying things to kind of almost delude himself into believing that he is his own myth when he's not. And I think his performance is really good. And from one of these kind of characters that was similar to another character that he played that we'll get to later on in my list, I had a lot of fun with it, and it's one I always go back to, and I think he should get the real props because of that facial hair, because that's fantastic in that movie.
It's a mighty beard. Okay, my number 3 is Jeff Taylor from Breakdown. Obviously we've just discussed that film in great detail, but just again, it's that everyman quality, and just how well he fits into the role of someone who half the time is scared to death. You know, when you've seen him in so many other roles where he's the tough guy, and you know that actually if he took his top off, you'd see a heck of a lot of muscles, because he's not, you know, he's not a weedy dude, is he, Kurt Russell? He can take care of himself. He makes a very convincing action hero, and then yet here in Breakdown, he makes a very convincing everyman who's scared out of his wits. So just again, another sign of how good he is as an actor and how underappreciated he is.
Yep, and I think this is where we might part ways on our number 1 spot. My number 3 is Mccabe from The Thing.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. The cowboy pilot of the movie, the man who won't tolerate the fact that a computer will beat him at chess, but someone who is smart enough that they're going to sacrifice themselves for the good of mankind at the end of it. Somebody that will take charge, not because it's their calling, but because they just kind of have to. Nobody else there is as trustworthy as he is. Nobody trusts him. He is pushed out of the group, and he has to kind of take charge and lead the charge against this monstrous alien that's going to take over them. As much as I love The Thing, and I do love Mccabe, it's another Kurt Russell fantastic facial hair moment, and it is a terrific movie. It's not my favourite character that he's ever played, which we'll get to soon.
Okay. So my number 2 is already mentioned Stuntman Mike from Death Proof. Again, this is a character who all the things you said, but the film itself is like a film of two halves. So there are 2 different sets of girls, 2 different sets of women that he stalks, and we see him reeling them in. You know, he's got that charm. He can turn the charm on. He's very confident because of the vehicle he's driving. He feels like no one can touch him. He is untouchable, and that makes him very cocky. And then at the end, with the second group of girls, when they get one up on him, they defeat him basically, And in those final moments, we see all that cockiness, all that bolshiness, all that strength completely disappear. And he becomes this scared little mouse. And it's really fun to watch. To see this bully, you know, this guy who's harassed these women suddenly have the tables turned on him and watch his demeanour completely change. Like he's not a badass right up until the last. He's only ever a badass because he's in the safety of that car. When you remove that shell, when you strip him of his, his phallic symbol, if you want to call it that, he's left with nothing. And actually, he's scared of these women by the time we get to the end of the film. It's a really great change. And if you put the wrong actor in that, they'd mishandle it, and it won't come off the way it does here with Kurt Russell in the role. So,
yep. My number 2 is the fantastically named Snake Plissken from Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Normally, what makes a fantastic character is their arc, you know, as they start the movie in one place and over the course of it they become somebody else. And when we first meet Snake Plissken, he is distrustful of the government. He is a criminal who has been forced to do something that he doesn't want to do. He will grudgingly do it only because it facilitates him. And at the end of it, he's exactly the same character. He's not changed at all. He's still disgruntled with the government, doesn't like authoritarian figures, but he does it with this kind of effortlessly cool take on the man with no name. That kind of cooler than cool character that can handle himself oh so well, but does it as if it's nothing. He's kind of aloof with it. It's such a fun performance, and I think I don't know too many people that love Escape from LA, but I love it because it gave me the return of Snake Plissken, and it is a carbon copy of New York. But I don't care because it gives me more of that character being that cool action hero that he is.
I saw Escape from New York for the first time last year. I'm not as sold on it as most people. I do like Kurt Russell in it. I like that character, but it's not on my list. It's not in my top 5.
Have you seen LA? Escape from LA?
I've seen about 20 minutes of it, in which he's surfing, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But no, not all the way through. I've not heard great things. You're one of the few people who I've heard actually champion that movie. But no, I liked Escape from New York, and it did appear in my 2 honourable mentions. I could have given more honourable mentions, but I got it down to 7 that were like really struggling, really battling for my top 5. Snake Plissken was one of them. Eldon Perry from Dark Blue was the other. But my number 1 choice, as you've already guessed,
Captain Ron,
is it's McCready from The Thing. It's a film that we've reviewed already on Brits on Flicks. I'd kind of seen it properly for the first time when we did that review. And it's just, he's a character that in real life you wouldn't want to know this guy. But for all the qualities that kind of make him not such a likable human being, like you said, they're the qualities that are needed to make him the right man for the job, for saving mankind, for not spreading this alien virus to a populated area. He's, of all the people to choose to do it, he turns out to be the perfect man for the job, even though, like I say, he's not the kind of man that you'd want to hang around with, really, I guess. So.
Okay, my number 1, And to be honest, it's a character I absolutely adore. So there was no qualms about putting Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China as my number one Kurt Russell character. Now, Jack Burton is the hero of the piece. He's got the muscles, he's got the vest, he's got that rocking mullet that he has. But it is one of the best comedic performances I have seen in the longest while, because although this guy is the hero, he does nothing but mess up for everybody and have to be saved in almost every situation. Yet, somehow, even though somebody has to save him or do something to help him out of a situation, he somehow comes out as if he's just rescued the situation. He gets the girl, he saves the day, everybody thanks him, but he's kind of been dragged along in this adventure. And I think it's just a masterful performance from Kurt Russell, because he has to balance that hero who's incompetent but seemingly still wins in the end, and it's just one of those characters that I always laugh at, always think about, and every now and again I'll be like, as old Jack Burton says, I'll say to somebody, because that's his lines that he has all the way through the movie, thinking he's a fountain of knowledge when he's just spewing nonsense most of the time. It's just quotable line after quotable line. It's just such a fun and exciting character, which is why it's my number one.
It's only after hearing you talk about him that I feel like he should be on my top 5. I've not seen Big Trouble in Little China since I was like in my teens. Oh, wow. And now it is a film that we watched quite a lot as kids. Me and my brothers, we watched Big Trouble quite a lot, especially like my oldest brother. He was mad on the film, and I do remember loving it as a kid. But it is literally just a case that this top 5, I had to make it based on what I remembered about the characters, and like I didn't remember any of that stuff about him until you just said it then, and I'm like, suddenly all those memories of the film started coming back, and I'm like, actually I can picture that character. I think he would make my top 5 if I saw that film again. I've no doubt he would make my top 5. So yeah, good choices.